That was perfectly timed. Hello, everyone. It is Sunday, and for me, it is a Sunday. It's one more week of summer, which is absurd, is messing with my head a great deal for a lot of reasons, but part of that reason is back east. It was like those dudes have like a whole month.
They do.
But we got off before them. So
got off a month ago.
Yes.
A month before them.
Some of y'all are already back. You know, I mean, people in Arizona like couldn't wait to get back in July. I know Shivy was back in July, like for PE meetings and stuff like that in Georgia.
Maisha, aren't you back as well? And Lopez, I think, are back. Like,
does Maisha get more of a discount? Does she get a teacher plus employee discount at Office Depot? That's what I want to know.
Good question. I hope so.
So there's questions in here already. I know. I want to real quick as we're kind of getting started. People are tuning in. Had my first teacher dream last night. When you woke me up this morning, I was in the thick of it, and I have my pants on, but because that's a lot of times. Like it used to be, I'd show up in school in pajama pants. I turned into that. I turned into a Walmart guy. So I had a dream that I forgot how to teach, and we were reading a book, and everyone was bored, and I was like, didn't know what to do. Everyone was quiet enough. I didn't want to stop doing the thing we were doing, the chants, anarchy, or madness, and it was scary. Like then we had 15 minutes left of class, and I was like, no, how do I have this much time? I can't just tell them like play a game on your computer or just chill for a little bit, or you can go on your phone. So like start his first day, like we'd be reading a book on the first day anyway. But it was nerve-wracking, man. And now to think that I have a week left, I have to get the classroom done. We have to finish the mural. We have to start another mural.
There's so much to do this week.
There's speaking next Monday. I'll be in Illinois. So it's like trying to dial all of this in. It has me feeling some type of way. So the reason I share this is there's this false assumption that folks that have just been doing this for a long time don't get nervous anymore. And maybe you don't. Maybe if you do the exact same thing every year, like if you've been doing the same thing for like forever, maybe those teachers are like, I know exactly, I could do this with my eyes closed. But because I feel like more like the Grateful Dead, were like, I know all the songs, we just don't play the same songs every night, kind of a thing. Maybe that's because I have a touch of gray. That's why I feel like, anyway, ADD moment. It is, feeling like there's not enough time to do all the things. I still have to lesson plan. There's so much to do.
There is so much to do.
Yeah.
I think it's good to share because I think even the veteran teachers that have been doing the same thing for 30 years, like there has to be like an ease, but still an uncertainty because you don't know the new crop of students, right? And yes, they're all similar in a lot of ways, like that you've had over the years, and you get used to dealing with like that one kid or like particular types of students. But there still has to be some level of anxiety for them. And I just think it's nice for you to share that stuff that you're going through because it helps other people go, okay, I'm not alone. Even someone like Reynolds, who by the look of it online has it all together, like that
but you start tricking yourself, right? It's like, I was just talking about the fear of heights with my kids, and because we went somewhere that was high up, I forget where it was. Anyway, it doesn't even matter. The fear of heights is not that you're going to fall. It's that your body's going to just throw itself off of something. Like you're just going to be like,
which I don't, like I can't even comprehend.
Like you just weren't thinking for a second, and all of a sudden your body was just like, ah. That's what it feels like, right? So, and I have to get away because I'm like, oh man, I'm not trusting
I
myself.
might throw myself off the cliff.
Shucked myself off here all of a sudden. But teaching like so many other things, you get to this place where you think, no, it kind of accidentally worked so far, or I've used it all up. I've used up all the magic, and I'm tapped out.
I think that's what you think about yourself.
Yeah.
And I know that that's so not true.
Anyway, that's how I'm feeling, man. But I'm here. I'm down for it. I think one of the things that's going to help all of us is to help one another.
Absolutely.
So with that, let's jump into it. I want to thank you want to go ahead and say that?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. B Teaching Sped. You just signed up to be a new member to support our channel, and we love it. And you actually leveled up, I think, to honor roll. I think I see on here also. So, yeah, thanks so much.
I appreciate that. Look, for 99 cents a month, you can you can support the Reynolds children's eating habit. It actually just helps us to do more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we appreciate that.
Frees up time.
Deeply.
Okay, well, we're going to start off with your question, Mr. B, asking, I'm new to a self-contained autism classroom and attending a 2-day training while my paras are on campus without me. The classroom layout is already set. What are some tasks I can have them work on?
That's a good question. What are you thinking?
I mean, just in the world of like autism, like, so you have your layout is all set. Like, is your rhythm of the classroom day? Is everybody on the same page with what that's going to look like for your students? Because if I know anything about autistic students is, man, they love rhythms, right? So it's like your timing, and there will be some flex, I think, as you get started in school, like with students, but are all of your like helpers and aides, are they on the same? Yes. I just think rhythm, because when I think autistic, I think, oh man,
it's
those
consistency.
Kids love that consistent rhythm, right?
Yeah.
So that, your timing, but do you have like particular tasks, like classroom tasks? That's not my
I'm
department.
thinking like, and you might be able to speak to this as well, but like, what are your paras in charge of anything? I always think that it was helpful. I think ownership means everything, whether it's with students or co-teachers, paraprofessionals, student teachers. If I can make someone a crucial role to what we're doing, it can really have such a wild effect. So I would be thinking about, and this is a conversation with them as well, like, what's your ownership stake in this? I don't want to just be the main teacher and you're floating around. So the way I did it and this was with co-teaching, which I realize is a little bit different, right? So like in co-teaching, I'm dealing or working with someone who is the special education teacher who's trained in that world. And then I was like sort of the regular ed teacher. But as a way to make it so the kids, that dynamic wasn't so clear, right? The idea of co-teaching is like no one's supposed to kind of know. I realized it's going to be a little different with a para, but all of my co-teachers were in charge of something and I was in charge of certain stuff, so that we went back and forth from teaching. So maybe for those folks, it's like, maybe it's leading a small group, maybe it's giving out information, maybe it's talking to kids at the beginning of class. Maybe it's how are they going to introduce themselves this week, right? Or like when your students come back, like maybe they need to work on something like that. Maybe they're working on a slightly different version of the syllabus. So like for your students, you might have like a simplified version of it, but then do you need to have something a little deeper for parents? Could they be working on parent connections? So they're just contacting parents. You know, I always talk about those 3 questions that I email parents all the time, which is, what's something in IEP a 504 is not going to show me about your kid that you would like me to know? What was their favorite class ever and favorite teacher ever? And what was their least favorite class ever? Not favorite. I don't ask about who their least favorite teacher was, but I do want to know what their least favorite class was and why. Maybe they're making those conversations happen. Maybe they're planning out a little bit further, right? So like maybe you're set up for the first week of school, but like how far can we do this? How dialed in can we get our processes or processes or however you say that? But that's a little bit of what I'd be looking at. And maybe asking them like, hey, I have a couple of things in mind. Is there anything that you think we're missing at the beginning of the year that we should be thinking about or working on? What I also look at when you're team teaching anything is it's kind of like the Avengers, where everybody's bringing some sort of magic to the classroom. And that's going to tell you a little bit about your paras too. Because if we're real honest, I've had great people and I've worked with horrible. I talked about this on the last episode of the Rules to Engagement. I've had people that literally slept in the back. I had a woman that showed up and I'm pretty sure she was drunk and she never came back from lunch. I've had people that were awesome. And one of my biggest mistakes was being wounded by the people that we're going to call it what it is. They sucked, and being wounded by that, and then holding on to all the control myself, and giving someone a little bit of space lets you see like how far do they run with that. And I know I did that with my last co-teacher, yes. Kayla, and
she was awesome.
Kayla was awesome, but I didn't know that until like I let go. And then I remember she ended up, our last 2 years together, she got out of co-teaching in all these other classes so that we were together like the majority. I actually did that, I think, with most people. Like the ones I really rode with, we were like, we need to figure out a way that I don't have other people coming in. I just want you in here all day. And so that's how we would work it out.
All right. Up next is John Brossett. Hey, John.
Thanks for that super chat there too, John. Appreciate it, man.
This is a multi-parter. Part 1, out of the box idea, wanting your thoughts, CJ. Long story short, there is an extra classroom available in my wing, and our admin said I could use it. What are your thoughts about having 2 classrooms and utilizing them for different configurations and activities? He said, FYI, I love the mural wall. Next level, so inspiring.
Thank you so much. The mural is taking my whole life, John.
Yes.
I am the king of, what would be cool? All we got to do is.
Well, that's what the mural is.
All we got to do
is project that thing up there and paint it,
Yeah.
Anyway. Like 5 times.
Yeah, exactly. So I like this idea of 2 rooms.
That seems overwhelming to me because now, if you were still in West Philly and you were like 2 rooms, because like the one is done, right? But now in this position where we're starting from scratch with a whole new room and being as uber creative as you are with your spaces, gosh, that feels overwhelming to like, how do you do that for 2 rooms? But if that wasn't a factor and you were just using it for activities and different, like using each space in a different way, like, I don't know. You could use one room as like, I just thought of this. You could use one room as like a prop room. It's like if you're doing an activity, it changes all the time. Yes. Like it's meant to be kind of that, like.
I didn't actually think of it like that. Like it's almost like a theater.
Yes.
I would use it as a messy room and a neat room.
What does that mean?
So students come into my regular classroom or maybe this is certain days, maybe it's all in the same day. And, stuff's up on the board. Nothing ever changes in there. It's neat. It's organized. It's clean. I know that's going to bring a lot of peace to a lot of students. Mm-hmm. And then if we're working on, I'll tell you, when we do things like Lego, it's a pain to put all the Legos away, right? When you share a room and you got to like clean everything up, cleaning up takes up it's getting all the stuff out in the beginning of class, putting away everything at the end of class. No one ever cleans up well. So then you're just running around, you and like maybe one other student that, pays attention to details is picking up all the rest of the stuff, making sure the clay is wrapped up the right way, because otherwise it's going to dry out. Kids put their aluminum foil figurines that we made on the windowsill, but they put it in front of the window that's open. So they're blowing off the freaking thing. It's so much to have a room where it's a little bit of like the mad scientist laboratory. John, one of the things I loved in New Jersey was, and I only ever got to go once, but I'm fascinated by it, was Thomas Edison's house. He had a different spot for everything. So there was a library, there was his office, there was the place where they did audio, there was a carpentry shop. And I loved this idea of having these different sections for different things. Walt Disney had one too. He had an office that was just for dreaming. It was just for coming up with ideas. And I love that idea. I think I would do it as like, and I think all kinds of teachers could do this, right? If you're a science teacher, you could have like, that's your science lab, right? We're like in here, we're taking notes. It's neat. It's organized. There's not stuff all over the place. But in there, I'm not saying it's a disaster area, but you can have half-finished projects and stuff and things on the wall, and you didn't have to take them down. And like, sometimes we're drawing posters and I tack them up on the wall and we're projecting things. That's what I would use it for.
That's how I would use it too.
That would be sick.
Because to do two over, like, yeah, it's like two different types of learning environments. One's like we're lecturing, we're reading, like it's more quiet. It's still a great classroom, but it's more academic versus like when we do have a project, we're going to shift into this other room, and it's even set up different, like bigger tables, like it's just a bunch of lab tables. I
get rid of all desks.
Right, I would too. It's kind of like
room transformation stuff in there, all kinds of cool
things. It's kind of like
That's
a makery space place, which would be really cool.
A little bit excited.
I know. Let us know what you decide and how you end up using it. That's fun. Okay, we're going to go. John has another one. Would you mind discussing your thoughts on transitioning from teaching all boys to now both males and females? Are you excited about a different dynamic? Will it be easier or harder?
So
this is a great question.
I'll tell you, the thing that always kind of pops out to me, John, is like when I taught guys and girls together, I found it harder to get through to tough guys. Whereas when I taught all boys, I didn't. Because dudes would just want to front so hard in front of girls, man. And like, and I'm not saying like, we would have boys come to my all boys school, to Boys Latin, and they would say like, yeah, I got to come here because my parents don't want me around girls. They're too distracting. I'm like, bro, stop. Just chill. They're not too distracting. You just don't know how to handle yourself. But I found that I got along with more female students. Like I probably keep up with more female students from when I taught co-ed than I do male students. But a lot of it was that dynamic. It was like this endless fronting. And girls I found were far more apt to share and think and put their ideas out there and stuff like that. So I'm not concerned about it. I think because it's a different place and I'm at a different place. Like I stopped teaching co-ed after my 5th year of teaching. I've taught for 4 times that amount of time now. So I'm a different person too. And I'm not so easily, I think this is part of it. I'm not so easily just like put off by hard guy acting. Like I'm still going to come at you, right? Like I'm still going to try and make the connection. And I think that has changed about me also. I just sort of like used to gravitate towards kids that wanted to learn more, do more, connect more, and didn't push as hard. I'm not talking about like brute force here. I'm just saying like, just keep putting the feelers out there, keep putting the feelers out there, keep putting the feelers. So like if you fish for long enough with the right bait, you're going to catch something. And so for some of those more stubborn students, that took a little bit of time. I'm looking forward to the mixed dynamic now too. Because we're in such a small town, a lot of these kids have known each other their whole lives. So they think they know one another. And I'm the new guy. Like I'm the new one coming into your world of like, y'all have known each other for at least, maybe not since kindergarten, but for some of them,
yes,
that's how long it's been. So I'm the new thing that's going to shake it up. I'm looking forward to that. And I think girls will help with that as well.
I think that dynamic is going to be fine. Do you think that breaking through to the like really difficult like boys, like your experience at BL will help in your ability to break through to kids who are like front behavioral wise? Like, are you going to use, like, did you learn skills that will help you in that? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah. I think it's also a reminder to me that like, Brody gets concerned about certain kids.
That has been really interesting. Just to let everybody know a little background on that. It's like, as we're setting up the classroom, Brody is like, and unpacking like boxes and stuff. He's like, I don't know about this, Dad. Like, I don't know about this or that or the other thing.
It's like, I don't know if someone's going to break that, someone's going to mess with it. Someone's going to take advantage of that. Someone's going to take advantage of you. No one's going to think that's funny.
Yeah.
They're not going to like this activity. They don't like doing stuff like that. And we had to have a little bit of a conversation of like, I appreciate you looking out for me. Like I really, really do. But I need you to remember that dad's been doing this longer than you've been alive. And I know a few things. And West Philly, I don't care what these kids have coming at me. It's just not as hard. It's just not. It's
No
like
way.
smaller
It's not even comparable.
classes. It's like, it's just in every single capacity. It's different. So, but have I learned stuff? Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
How to not give up on kids, how to break through to kids.
Because there are some of those kids at this school, right? I think they're everywhere. It's like,
oh, for sure. Kids don't want to go to school.
Right.
I mean, they're just like apathetic,
'Cause
or
the school's
they
boring.
think they know what they're going to do, or they're rich, or whatever. And it's like, that's fine, but like, you're not rich.
All right, let's
What are you going to do with your life?
let's move on.
Hit
Yeah,
it.
I love that. I love that you're not rich. Your parents are
Yes.
rich.
George
you
Lucas
still have
taught
to
me that.
build your wealth.
That's a George Lucas line. He
I
told
love
his
that.
kids, "You're not rich. I am."
Okay, Mallory is asking, I've started a new job at a private school after 15 years in public.
Hey.
So far, it's been a great change for me, but I'm having a bit of an identity crisis. I'm public. I felt a strong sense of purpose because for many kids, I was the only stable adult in their life. That's not the case now at my private school, where almost all kids are in loving homes. This is true. Next, she says, it almost feels like I'm not needed. Any tips on how to navigate this?
This is incredibly interesting.
That's a great question, because I feel like you went from...
I don't know that I'm dealing with exactly the same thing, because I think that's just my affinity towards like the children's home here. There's a group home. So I've talked about this before, but they still have orphanages in New Mexico and group homes. They do have foster care, but I haven't heard anyone talk about foster care, not like they did back east. So
there were no group homes and foster,
Yeah.
or like there were no, what do they call it? Children's homes, orphanage.
I didn't
like
know.
there was no, I don't, that we knew of. It was
I didn't
just
know
all
about
foster
any.
care.
I mean, I certainly never had a kid that came from it that I knew of. Mallory, I'm wondering a couple of things. One, who's dealing with something that they just haven't talked about yet? So maybe the majority of your kids come from those homes, but I'm wondering, like, I've known a number of students that come from very rich homes, like their parents have a lot of money, their parents are together, but they're not like around. I just wonder if that could be a component at your school as well, right? So like, if we're talking about like, a lot of my guys in Philly had dads that were absent, just like weren't a part of their lives because they were doing whatever they were doing. But then I've known kids whose parents were rich and their dads are just like not really in their lives either. They're just like they work all the time. Like they didn't like have kids because they wanted to have, like, because it was fun. It was like more of a social status thing or something that just happened. I'm wondering how you might be able to help teachers too, that feel like maybe that's a calling too, is like, how are we helping our community to be the best that they can be? And I'm also a little curious, because I'm not going to have, I'm thinking about this in a similar fashion, because I'm thinking how, like, I'm not going to have as many probably classroom management issues as I've had in the past. I'm pretty certain that's going to be the case. What kind of teacher does that allow me to be when I'm not just putting out fires all the time? What can I do as an educator? And maybe this is a season where you're really honing your craft and getting better, where you're not like, every prep isn't you like having the deepest one-on-one, where you're also not dealing with all that secondary trauma too, right? So what does it look like when you get to just show up and teach? Who knows where your path is going to go in the future, whether you stay at this school, whether you go somewhere else, whether students start showing up that are struggling at the school that you're at. But what does it look like to be able to like have that time back, and maybe some of that is, I'll tell you what, like, I feel like I have more capacity here. So we've been doing stuff like, the kids and I and my wife came one week, have been going to the local food shelter, and we hand out food on Wednesdays to folks that need it, right? They have like a little clothing shop, and like they like certain groceries, and I hand out ground beef every week, and that's my job. And so, but it's a wonderful time to be able to connect. And so I've been thinking about, Mallory, like, how do we as a school, so our school volunteers there, I don't know, I think kids go like a couple times a year, but I'm already thinking about how do we grow, instead of just giving folks like top ramen and rice, nothing wrong with that. Like if it means people are eating, by all means, like feed them. But how can we perhaps at our school start a garden that's growing fresh fruits and vegetables, or probably more vegetables and fruit, but like, how do we grow stuff that we're then bringing to the food pantry with us? And so I'm still in that world of deep purpose, because I'm getting better at my craft, and I'm also taking these kids and connecting them to other places. And I think that that's some of it as well. You're kind of going the other way, where it's like we're taking kids that are coming from a deep level of privilege and helping them to see like, hey, there's places and spaces in the world where people really don't have this. And how are we going to show up and help be a solution to some of these like immediate needs, like food and clothing and things of that nature?
I also want to add on that kids are kids, no matter if they come from
Facts.
poor or wealthy backgrounds. Like, kids are still learning themselves. They're still awkward. They don't know how to be themselves. They don't really know their opinions. They're going with the flow, especially if, I don't know if you're at a Christian school, at your private school, but like, they're figuring out their beliefs in faith, in life, in all these things. And
That's
they don't necessarily feel confident in talking to maybe they don't feel confident. Maybe they have parents who provide but aren't necessarily loving, right? So that social emotional bucket isn't getting filled. Kids are still kids, whether they're poor or wealthy. And I think that there is still space. You're going to find those, but I think it's even more important about asking questions and learning about your students. Because what I've learned from you is that they kind of amazingly just open up, like, and that's why I think the Life Odyssey
already
things,
at this school, right?
Yes.
Where that
just through substituting and just by asking questions,
that student came up to you, right?
Learned an amazing amount of stuff.
Where they were like, no, Mr. Reynolds and I have like some of the deepest conversations I've ever had. And I was like,
so I think,
wow,
providing places and spaces for them to really open up and asking questions about them will help you to see who is your kid that might need a little bit more extra support. But I get what you're saying. It's definitely different. And I even see that from where we are now to where you used to be. And but we've already seen in this school, like, the ones that need a little extra assistance.
Here's a weird metaphor.
Even with being wealthy.
It felt like before I was raking a forest in autumn, and now I get to just rake a yard, right? It's like, they're still kids. They still have problems. They still have needs. It's just not, I don't have 30 kids in the class anymore. It's not as vast,
right? When you're in public school and in a low income area, you deal with a lot. Like, you dealt with it with every student had something. And now at this school, it's like not every student has something. And it makes space for those other things that you're talking about, which I think is really, really cool. But definitely, kids are still kids. Okay, we're jumping over to Marcus. Has a two-parter question asking, so I'm reading Teach Like a Pirate, and I love many of the ideas, but some of them I find really hard to implement, the movement ones especially. I did a lot of movement last term, and it always turned into extremely chatty, and kids didn't actually learn anything from the activity. So my question is how can I make it work? None of my colleagues do activities either because of the chattiness. I think that's why everybody, most teachers don't do it.
Well, I know. And it's like, it's so hard when no one else is doing this. They've just like resigned to not do it because
then kids get accustomed. And I think you're going to deal with, I think this is spot
absolutely
on. Like, you're going to deal with this because they don't have too much of this, even in the science class. It's pretty, everybody sit in seats, everybody's lecturing, everybody's reading from the textbook. That's not how you teach at all. So I'm interested to see how the kids are going to have to go through a growing pain. So what's your advice?
What do you think I'm going to say? Let's do a quiz.
No, I don't want to do that. I hate that. You said you don't like pop quizzes.
I don't.
Now you're trying to give me a pop quiz
Listen,
online live?
For my wife, I do. So,
although I actually think I could answer this, but go ahead anyway.
Marcus, I'm going to say, Marcus, one, I just want to say, I appreciate you being on here all the time, man, and asking questions. That's how I know how you're going to figure this out, because you're that guy. I think part of it is, one, try it with classes that you think it might work better. Everyone has a class that is a disaster. Like I feel like every year, especially like most of the time, we had 8 periods a day. It would be my 7th or 8th period class would be like the disaster, because everyone had, like, if it was 8th period, they had 7 chances in 7 other classes to get in trouble all day, to get bored all day, to hate school all day. And then they just like plop them, and it's like, here you go. Swan song at Reynolds. And it made it harder. So maybe that wouldn't be my go-to. But usually, like in my first 4 periods, those were like some classes I had a better chance with. I feel like most of the time my first period class was like in a good space. Maybe that's just because they were still tired. Maybe it's because, I don't know, the ADHD meds were all in full effect. Whatever it is. I would pick the class you think it's going to work with and do an experiment in there. Just because you do it in one class doesn't mean you have to do everything in all classes. And then tell those kids, like, yo, y'all, we're about to do an experiment. I want to do this thing where we're going to go here in the school and we're going to do this activity. But here's what I need to see, right? I'm experimenting on y'all because I think this is the best chance of working. Y'all know that you're one of my favorite classes. That's something I tell every single class, by the way. Y'all know you're one of my favorite classes. So I want to jump into this. Here's what I need to see, and here's what I can't see. So if we're off task, if we're moving around too much, if we're talking the whole time, if we're not paying attention, if when we're done, the ROI is not there, if I feel like you're not learning it, then what we're doing this is not just to have fun. It's not just to do something cool. It's to make learning better and make school suck less. So are we down for that? And then constantly measuring that, right? So like letting them know, like, this is what I saw yesterday went really well. This is what I saw that didn't go well. I want to try this again next week or tomorrow or whatever. Here's what I need to see. Do y'all have any ideas? How can we make this better? So you're building that out. And then I do it with another class. Hey, listen, y'all, we haven't done this yet. I've been working on this with first period. But I'm not sure this is the best way for you all to learn, right? It's not because I think you're bad. It's not because I think you're not paying attention. It's not because I don't think you can handle it. I'm not sure this is the best way for you all to learn. That's what we're going to try out right now. And so with that, I do it with another class. And then it's kind of seeing how it works. I let kids know, look, I'm not trying to be better than anyone else, right? I am, but I'm not trying to like compete with other people, right? Like, I'm not trying to be like, I don't want to be like the best teacher, named the best teacher in the school or something like that, because I'm better than everyone else. I want us all to have great classes. That being said, sometimes I do have to call out that, like, look, I know what we're doing in here is quite different than what so many other people are doing. And I know that, but I don't think y'all know how to handle this kind of stuff, right? So when I tell you that, like, the first time that I started doing ghost stories in my room with, like, in the dark, it got out of hand. Kids were chucking things across the room. Kids were talking and laughing. I can't see what the hell's going on behind me because someone's throwing something, and like, I didn't know what was going on. First time we went to the basement to do it, that was a disaster area also, because like kids were like chucking candles at one another.
Is that the time that didn't you have actually a student like
Jordan Jeffers
yelled at the class for you on behalf of like
literally cursed out my whole class and told them, because I remember this other kid that was down, I can't remember his name, and I would totally say it right now if I could remember it. But Lameek was acting a fool, and Jordan Jeffers curses him out. And he looks at Lameek, who was still screwing around. Jordan was also an enormous dude. He goes, "Don't act like this ain't the best thing we're going to do all day, and you're ruining it." And
I love that.
And then they were like, everyone kind of was like, "You're right. You're right." Like, let's like, so it's reminding kids that like, look, there's the reason other people don't do this stuff, bro. Right. Like I'm trying to make school not suck. And so we're either going to ride this ride together and it's going to be awesome, or you're going to battle me and I'm just not doing it. I'm not trying to make it fun if you don't want to go. Like if you're booing out the song,
I love that because it's not putting other teachers on blast, but it's being real with students and saying, this is why people don't do this. It's because you can't keep it together. You can't handle this.
Yeah.
And I love that because it puts the onus back on them and saying, it's not about me controlling the class. I love, one of our kids was in the car the other day and they were talking about rules or the first day. I love that our kids are just going to get to experience all this stuff because I had to remind them, I go, well, Dad doesn't do rules on the first day. I said, he basically tells kids like, don't act a fool. Like you weren't raised a fool. Like, I know you weren't raised a fool, all the basics of like, what do you call it? Like,
you know how to roll.
You know how to behave, right? Like, you know what's really required of you, whether you choose to do it or not is like kind of up to you. But that's that same scenario within what you're doing, these activities. It's like, you know what's right and wrong behavior. And so I love putting it back on students and reminding them, it's like, if you don't want school to suck and to be boring and to just write out of a textbook, then you're going to participate accordingly.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
So I would test and see.
Just a real fast reminder, we used to go questions in order, but we're not going quite in order. I recognize people who are members of the channel if you have first priority. So I try and find those out. So if you're like, hey, my question hasn't been answered, that's potentially why.
Yeah.
But
I'll try to get to as many questions as I can. I'm not trying to like.
But you're going to try and be faster? Okay, we'll see how that goes. All right, Seth Miller's up asking, new to full-time admin and teacher training.
All right, man.
And teacher training is a big part of my year. What recommendations do you have on going about this? What have you seen to be impactful and what should I avoid? Thanks.
I would say, Seth, you should hire me. No, I'm just playing. I'm available. But so to me, Seth, I run professional development in a way that I just wish it was run. If I'm really real, and I told my new admin, I think this came up in a conversation. I've had 3 good professional development meetings in my life, for real, out of all the years of doing that. Most professional developments I found a way to get myself out of because they just didn't feel like it was a good use of time. Why? A lot of times it's because it's theory. It's not boots on the ground. Here's how we're going to do it. Like your staff recognizes that there are particular issues in the school, and the beginning of the year is a lot of times, and I'm not saying this was my experience, right? So I don't want to say that like this is what administrators do, but we would have administrators that I'm gonna not talk about the good ones right now. I'll talk about them in a minute. Pie in the sky. Oh, this year, this is what we're doing. We're going to crack down on this. We're cracking down on cell phones this year. You see a cell phone, you take it from a student. You're going to bring it down to the office. There's all these ideas of how that's going to work. And everybody knows that that's out the window within the first 3 days of school, right? Like you want to address issues and then come up with solutions for them. So if you want your teachers to create more engaging classes, if you want to redo classroom management, if you want to talk about things like AI in the classroom, like how it can be used, what we should be, concerned about in the classroom, let's have some real training on what we're actually going to do. But when we have that training, this should be, how are we empowering teachers? How are we putting the power back in their hands to be able to handle a lot of things, to be able to have more engaging classes? I think that it's having a lot of those conversations of like, here's real things you can do. So when I do a professional development, one of the things I get the most feedback on is people appreciate that I am a teacher talking to teachers. And I didn't start teaching a year ago. I've had professional development, and these are some of the ones I would leave. Like when someone would come in and they'd be like, oh, I taught last year for the first time in Harlem. And so I'm going to here to talk to y'all about like how to build relationships. Bro, I'm out. God bless you. I hope that you had a really great year. But, and this was probably a little narcissistic. I realize that. But like, I left because I'm like, you taught for a year, bro. Like, what are you really teaching me? And so, but when we had people come in that could really speak to some of these issues. So one of the best PDs I ever had was someone who was an expert on secondary trauma, came in and talked to us about trauma and secondary trauma. What teachers could do in their classes to, if someone was having a meltdown, someone was depressed, someone was sad, somebody needed a moment. What could we actually do? And then what was the system our school was going to set up to be able to handle that? Having someone come in and talk about special education needs, right? So like, what I remember it was Bethany Yonkers taught about, this is what it's like to have ADHD. This is what it's like to have dyslexia. And then it
so
blew my mind. It is probably the best training I've ever had in my life. And it was so good because I got to really understand what kids were going through, so that I just saw my class in a different way. That's what I'm looking for, is like not doing, I would say it like this. Mr. Rogers said, simple and deep is better than wide and complex. What few issues that if we took care of them would actually eradicate a lot of other issues. That's what I talk to teachers about all the time. Classroom engagement eradicates classroom management issues. Behavior eradicates classroom management issues, right? Building relationships with students. So I think it's things like that I'm looking for. Like, what are some real world, what are tools you're giving to teachers so they can handle stuff in their classroom? That's what I'm looking for.
All right. And so we'll do a quick plug since this goes along with it. Mrs. Brown-Eyed Girl said, just purchased your classroom management blueprint.
Right.
Loved it. Thank you so much for taking the time to make it. Last year she taught math 5th and 6th grade. This year she's teaching Bible 9th to 11th at a private school.
All right.
Oh, awesome. So if you can find, so if you want any of these things that we do, you can find them at this link. And there's all kinds of stuff. There's t-shirts, there's pennants, there's resources, there's workshops, Working on another workshop now. So, right, you talked about the two most important things, like building relationships and classroom management. There's a classroom management blueprint. We made the two most popular things that we get asked questions
all
about.
The time. Classroom
management blueprint and not just building relationships, but teacher-student relationship. Like, how does that dynamic work? So they're there if you need them. All right, we're going to move to Ruth has a question. She's asking, I'm going to be teaching 2 groups of students that have known each other since they started at this school. Love to hear more ideas to get to know them better. Need ideas, them to work in groups. So do you have any ideas for group work, I guess? And then any ideas on how to get them know them better when they already know each other? Like, they've known each other since grade school.
Yes.
So we actually talked about this with Marley, because we talked about doing how CJ's going to do the Life Odyssey project, and she says, but they all know each other already. And I said, you're going to be really surprised at like the things that kids put in there. I said, even these kids that already know each other, they don't know each other like intimately. No. Like, the moments that were most impactful to someone's life is going to be different for one student and the other. So they might still really learn something by doing that project.
Most students, unless it's your best friend, most students talk about surface stuff. That those kids in the school, even though they were in classroom with Marley for a full year, they don't really know Marley. They don't know what she's into. They don't know what she does. They would be bewildered if they walked into that insane bedroom that she has over there. But what about the students? You think that's true for even students who have known each other since kindergarten? Yes. Because how many adult friends do we have that if I ask them, what are the 10 moments in your life that made you into the person you are today? Yeah, I would still be surprised that probably a lot of somebody has a story. And I know this because I've known kids that like went to Boys Latin middle school together, grew up in the same neighborhood, And then I'd ask that question like, bro, I didn't know that you did that. I didn't know that happened to you. I didn't know that was him, because they don't want to share. Right. Or like when I did that call with a student not too long ago who was homeless for his entire high school career, living out of his mom's car down the block from the school. Nobody knew about that. He was like, dude, none of my friends knew that. They just saw I lived at my dad's house. But like I would sneak back to my mom's car at the end of the day, and like we would sleep in the car every night.
Crazy.
It is doing things like the Life Odyssey, Ruth. And then what you're doing is looking for questions that ask students that are not your typical questions. What do you want to do when you're older? What do you want to do? And where do you want to go to college for? What's your favorite class in school? What sports do you play? These are all fine questions, right? But like, what is, it is first, it's like soft, it's like lower the entry of
level one.
Yeah. Like level one would be like, you are 10 years old and you're going home to like, so I used to ask students like when like TV was on like a timer, right? You're between 7 and 10 years old. What TV show do you turn on when you go home from school? And what snack do you grab? Right? It's like kids don't ask each other questions like that, but that's a pretty low answer to do. Then maybe like, what's a fashion trend that you jumped on that you regret? Like that you look back and you're like, bro, that was a bad idea.
I want to say all these questions CJ listed, and they're actually a resource in, is it the student teacher?
The relationship one.
The relationship one?
Yeah, they've been in a couple things. They're also in the classroom management workshop too. Yeah. You get like 100 questions or more. But I know it's in the newest one that we it's looking for, it's you're looking, trying to think of better questions, because then you're going to get better answers. And then you're going to build better relationships, because you're asking the stuff that nobody asks. And that doesn't mean like you have to ask like the deepest, most intimate questions. It's just questions that kids care about. And kids will start to notice that you're different, that you ask different things, that you do different stuff. So I think that's part of it. And kids might know one another, but they don't know each other. My guess is most of your students don't know each other like on a deep level, because they're also teenagers, right? And they're trying to front and don't want to like put stuff out there, right? They don't want to do like deep questioning with one another, right? You're embarrassed. You don't know what to share, what not to share. So yeah, I would start with Life Odyssey though, for sure.
Do you have any ideas for group work?
Not
specific, maybe?
Honest to God, Ruth, my feeling is always to stay away from group work at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of kids are scared of it. A lot of kids, it just fills them with anxiety.
I know that's true for our daughter. She hates group work.
When you have a group project, anything you do, have different jobs for different people. So like if I were to I know, yeah, our daughter is like, hates group work. It fills her with a ton of anxiety unless she has a thing to work on. Like I saw her work on that project last year that they did something, and she had like, her job was like the artist, and she drew that Tesla Cybertruck, and it was like unbelievably good. She knew every day they showed up, these are the things that I need to use. This is the project that I need to get done. This is the part that I need to finish. It helped her to know what she was doing. So it's not so much about the, what are you doing? It's having a job for everyone and that being part of it. And
I know that she was in other ones that didn't work like that. Do you remember in Portales? Them to talk.
They forced them to like engage in stuff. And Mar was like, I didn't know what to say. But
nobody wanted to lead, right? Because we're all teens and we're all like learning. Yeah. Like, even though I might have leader qualities, I don't really want to be the leader because that feels pushy, or I don't really know how to be a leader yet. Right. Like all the things. So having clear like roles.
Yes.
within the group is helpful. All right. Let's see if we can answer a couple more. Miss J's Kid Vids is asking, we have a lot of trauma this summer within our Christian school. Death of 2 fathers of students, divorce, major health issues for kids, coming back weary. How do we find joy?
I would say, first of all, that's a wonderful question. And I love that you're even asking it. Like the fact that you're looking for the joy in that. I think some of the joy is going to come from healing. And in my experience, Mrs. J, it is one, keep things consistent. School becomes a bit of an escape. It becomes a bit of like, it's not so heavy lifting. It's when dealing with loss. And look, I'm not a therapist. I didn't go to school for, I just know what I know from like self-education and from living through these moments. And I've seen what's worked for my team and I, not even just for me. Getting up in the mornings, getting your clothes on hard. You're going through trauma, like when you've dealt with a death of someone, like getting a shower is a hard thing.
Yep.
Feeding yourself is a hard thing. But when I can get to school, it's almost like I got myself to the airport and then I got to get on one of those movable sidewalks. We call them collators because it's like an escalator, but it doesn't escalate. So you get on the collator and you're just cruising, right? You can fall back a little bit into the rhythm and not have to think about so much, right? Regular life is happening around you. I think that's part of it. The other part is keeping your eyes open and being ready to listen, not to solve problems, not to give advice. I say it all the time. Your attention is so much more important than your advice. Just listening to young people when they need you, when they're hurting, when they just need someone to just hear them out. And here's the thing. The rest of the world, right? Like when you've lost someone, I remember like, so if I use my mom as an example, when I lost my mom, I felt like everybody else was so in a hurry to get back to regular life. And like, yo, you want to go to the movies? Yo, you want to go do this? Yo, you want to go this? It's like, bro, I am sad on a level that I cannot even comprehend. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. I just wanted someone, real rap, I wanted someone to lay in bed with me. I just wanted someone to sit next to me, put your hand on me, let me cry, give me another tissue. I didn't want advice. No, who was going to give me advice anyway, right? Who's going to make me feel better that my mom died? Nobody. And so with these kids that you're working through and their friends, like their friends are going to want to get back to life. You need to just keep your eye open and just check in. Just let them know that I'm here for you, man. Like this is a healing process for the rest of your life, not just for this month, this year, next year, the next 4 years of high school, none of that. Just showing up and being ready to be there with people and love on them. That's what love looks like in this season. And I think that's what brings joy because it might not make them smile now, but in retrospect, they're going to look back and know that that's what I needed. But
I think it does. It's not going to bring joy, but it's going to bring comfort and care, right? To just know that someone cares, that you're still sad. Like,
you know what it does though? It prepares the soil for joy.
It does. Absolutely.
Because when you don't take care of the soil, it can get, but especially here in New Mexico, it just gets hard, right?
Right. Absolutely.
When you keep tilling it, right? When Leighton says that he's constantly like, they have to till the weeds, otherwise the weeds will take over. You're constantly just doing the work of preparing the soil so the seeds of joy can show up and then they can flourish eventually. And that's all you're doing. Absolutely.
And for yourself as someone who is, or your staff, like other people, teachers, I think if a lot of the trauma seems like coming, that your students are coming with, that they're coming in weary. I don't know if it's you or the teachers you're talking about. But I think it's super important to prioritize yourself because secondary trauma is huge.
Wait, say that again. Someone wasn't paying attention.
You need to prioritize yourself.
Yes.
And that, I think what that looks like is putting things of joy for you on the calendar because you're going to give and pour into kids that can't give you anything back. And you need to make sure that you're filled up every day to go in and serve those kids because they need you, right? But you have to fill you up. So if you have to take a mental health day, like you have to take a mental health day. If you're going to go get a massage, if you're going to spend the day in nature, you're going to go to the beach if there's a beach around you, if you're going to go to coffee with a friend,
talk about it, like make it normal. Because teachers, I feel like I'm going to say this. I think teachers at Christian schools and in Christian institutions, they put martyrdom on a pedestal. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jesus did get on the cross, but my man took more naps than anybody else in the history of the Bible.
More time
he
alone.
Constantly went away. He was always like, just going, I got to go pray. 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 It is, and letting folks know, normalize that in your community. That is, man, done. Next question. That was a great answer. I
hope that helps. And praying for your school community and your year ahead, because that's hard. We have went through enough secondary trauma and deaths of our own, like that. We know the toll that can take. So really praying for your community. Yeah. Okay, Matthew
I see my man Leighton in here.
Yeah, he's in here. Matthew is up asking, starting year 2, I love my job as a teacher and coach, but sometimes I feel like I value my identity as an educator over my value as a person. How do I maintain balance in my life to avoid burnout?
You know, that's a great question.
I think it goes back to exactly what I was just talking about. You have to prioritize you. I think it's okay to find some level of identity in being a teacher, right? I think that there's a high calling on the lives. It's why we have a shirt that says teaching is a calling. Like, we really believe that teaching is.
I don't know how anyone does it if it's not.
Oh, right. We talked about this the other day. Like, it's so hard.
There's no perks. It's like.
So most people are educators for a reason. They
it's
feel
like
a call
working
on
out
their lives
every day and knowing you'll never get muscles.
And so I really think it's okay to have some level of identity as a teacher, but is that your only identity? You can have multiple identities. I mean, look, you're a teacher, you're a father, you're a husband, you're there's multiple, you've multiple identities. I think that's okay, but it's like,
you're feeling this today. You're talking a lot more.
Well, I like social and emotional stuff. We talk a lot. We think
about
a lot of that.
It's like we're together. No, I think that's a great thing.
So put yourself on your calendar.
Don't not talk now because I said that out loud.
To avoid burnout, I think
I would also say it's seasons, right? Like some seasons I know in this new job that I'm going into, it's going to take a lot more time, energy, and effort, right? Like my business stuff I won't be able to do it. I won't say it takes a backseat because that's how I make my living, but like, it is, right? It has to.
Well, if y'all notice, we haven't had a video out in the last 2 weeks because life has been busy around here.
Yeah. And it's that time of the year where I like forget what day it is, right? Like I've literally, yesterday I thought it was Tuesday.
No.
All day because I thought Sebastian was coming the next day. I know.
We had a visitor out for a week, and so
it threw my whole schedule off. But in a wonderful way. Yeah. Great week. Anyway, my point here is that in the season, certain seasons call me to be more of a dad, call me to be more of a husband, call me to put more time and energy and effort into fixing things and doing stuff around my house. I know there's a pretty good chance the lawn's not getting mowed for the next 2 weeks, even though it needs it, right? Because I just have so much stuff to do to get ready, from speaking to getting my classroom ready, to getting my lessons ready, to helping my kids get ready for back to school and stuff. Like I think it's okay. Here's the thing that you need to pay attention to. All the values, all the things you have going on in your life, you have to realize, are they really important to me, or are they just things that I do? Get rid of things that you just do. So for me, it's putting like God first, making myself a priority. My wife's a priority. My kids are a priority. My school is a priority. Then it's my business is a priority. My friends are a priority, and then money. All these things are priorities. What I want to make sure is that just none of them, I'm spinning plates. They're all different plates. I don't want a plate to fall off the stick. That's what I'm looking at. So my plate with my kids might get real wobbly in this season. I just want to make sure it doesn't fall off, right? Because right now something else is taking more time, energy, and effort. And then when my wife says self-care, it's put things on the schedule so that like I don't go a month without hanging out with my kids. So I'm still putting dates. That's when I'm going to start putting father-daughter dates on the thing. I put time in with my son because we work out all the time together. I'm putting dates with my wife on there because I know I'm going hard at school. I'm staying there late. I'm coming home. I'm doing stuff late for the business, but I don't want that plate to fall off, right? So I want to put that on the calendar. I think that's how you do it. So it's knowing that you can't give equal time to each plate. It's impossible, right? You're never going to get them spin at the same velocity. I just want them to not fall off.
I love it because I love that people really struggle with work-life balance. Is always
but work-life balance is you're never going to have a seesaw that's completely, if you really look at it close enough, it's constantly going back and forth. You're never going to get it just pivoted exactly. The trick is to not have it touch the ground on either side. Can we do like a couple more? Because I know we're at an hour, but I feel like there's a lot of questions.
A lot more. Okay. Heather is up next. So I've accepted a new job, but my district is holding my license for 30 days and I won't get to start with my new kids. And the new district won't even let me send a letter or video to, I don't know. You can answer that. I don't know where the second part is, if there is one. This back and forth with the thing is confusing.
First, gosh, that sucks. Let me just name that with you. I know it sucks. Sometimes it helps to hear somebody else go, man, that sucks. That's terrible. Like, that's a ridiculous thing. Sometimes I'll say these two things. One, Heather, sometimes there's nothing you can do. And I just release myself from that. And I'm going to work on the things that I can do so that when I do show up to the new school, when I can contact with parents, I'm going to have it read. Like, that email's already written. Hey, sorry, it's been this long. Yeah. Here's the situation. Man. It was a legal hang up. I wasn't allowed to contact with you, but man, I am here now, and look out, because I am like juggling fire right now. Take that extra time to work on your lessons, to work on your first day that you're going to be there. Know that you're coming in late to the race, so you got to be booking it, right? So I'm on the sidelines, like while everyone else, the starting gun went off and everyone else is running, I'm stretching, I'm eating the right thing, I'm getting myself to the best place that I can, so that when I do get to go, I can go as hard as I can to try and like catch up with everyone else and then win. That's what I'm really thinking about. So that I guess that's my one piece of advice, is like, knowing that first half of your question is like, just prepare yourself and know that it sucks, but there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like I've had not really that similar of a moment, but like when my daughter was born, Mar was born the second week of school. I went in, I started school and did all the right. I started like the first 3 days, and because we started on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Marley was born, and I had off for like a week or two, and then it was like no one remembered what the heck I said the class was going to be. So I really just kind of prepped those first 3 days, like, let me give you a little bit of an idea. But when we came back, it was almost like I pretended I didn't even do those 3 days, and I just came in full tilt. And that was one of my favorite years I ever. That's the year Colleen Sanchez was in my class.
And it started off wacky. I don't think that there's another part to that. No.
Heather, here's the thing. If there's so much happening on here, email me if I didn't get your whole question.
Oh, she said to start making connections.
Okay.
I found it.
Okay.
So pretty much what you said. Okay, they got like 8 more, but we can.
All right, hit me. We can do like 2.
All right. Caro is asking Caro. Is that how I say it? Caro?
Yeah. Caro. You say this all the time.
I know. I'm so bad. Val's really throw me for a loop sometimes. What is the one thing that you want to do or try this year because of something you read about or heard a fellow teacher say recently?
That's awesome.
Do you have anything?
What is something I want to do?
Because of something you read? Well, you can double this. You can piggyback this with something, because she said because of something you read or heard about a fellow teacher say recently. So even if it's you read, John Brossett is asking, I read every book you recommended.
Hey,
Unreasonable Hospitality was fire.
Yo, what
was your main takeaway from that book in regards to teaching? So do you have something from that book in regards to teaching that you could that you've wanted to implement in your classroom?
I think it's more than one of the things I want to do to answer both those questions. So one is tea time, right? So tea time is my ridiculous new idea where I'm going to buy me a tea set and we're going to have tea.
Vintage Curry, if you're on here listening, there is a tea set. Man, we need to.
It's not at their place. It was at the Carpenter Mall, but I'm going to go to Vintage Curry today and take a look.
We need a tea set.
I made a video at a local vintage shop and then they reposted it online. And like, my goal is to become friends with them. So, tea time is every Friday during, they have like a snack break the students have, like that. It's really wonderful. It's like a 15-minute break after second period. And I'm going to have a select number of students. We're going to have tea in my room every Friday. And that's how we're going to start it. It's an intentional way to connect with kids in a way that no one else is doing it. How this relates to the rest of the school and to my favorite part of the book. One of my favorite parts in Unreasonable Hospitality, I think it's chapter 17, where they talk about the dream weavers. It is my favorite because it's looking for the gaps. It's intentionally looking for spaces that we could be better. So in this year, I'm looking at how do we make the school better? How do you start the first day? So we have a balloon arch that we're going to make for my classroom for the first day. I might ask the admin if we can just put it at the front of the school. Like, can we make a balloon arch that now you don't want to put it outside because it's too windy here, but like, can we have a balloon arch when the kids are coming in? Can we have music on when the kids are coming in? Can I have a bubble machine when the kids are coming in? How do we make more of an work? Why?
Because you don't have any carpet on. You're going to have slippery floors.
Listen, kids, they're cowboys out here. Man, they can handle it. They raise and rope bronco. So how can we make the ordinary even more extraordinary? It's something I talk about all the time, sprinkling magic. But what I want to do this year is how do I do that school wide and not just in my classroom? So those are some of the things I'm looking for this year is like, how do I make teacher birthdays special? How do I make kid birthday special? Like, this is stuff I've done in the past, but I've done it in my little bubble. I'm wondering how do I my students and I, right, together make more magic in the classroom all year. That's what I'm really looking at.
All right. Does that answer her question?
Yes.
And John's question?
And Caro, I'll say I need to meet my students first. I need to know who do I need to show up as? What version of me do they need? Then I'll have some I don't want to make the bucket list before I meet the students.
I would say tea time is the thing that he's been talking about most. And that probably comes from the hospitality book.
And it's ridiculous.
Which is right.
And I don't eat cereal anymore. So, I mean, cereal parties, I'm still going to probably do them. But I don't do dairy. I don't do grains. I don't do refined sugar.
We'll buy a Magic Spoon, which is like the healthier alternative. There's a few that
Remember they wanted to do a brand deal with us before?
Kids. I know Magic Spoon when they first came out.
Magic Spoon.
Yeah, I do cereal parties.
You got everybody DM them.
Okay, let's answer these last two because they're great.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I know. I don't know why I said two. Let's help everybody.
Well, I don't know. That. Okay. Joe Marie. She says, hi, you both are inspirations to me. Well, thank you. What is your favorite tip for substitute teaching if you have one? Do you have one since you did it last year?
I'm going to say don't just sit at the desk. Give kids work with kids. Go help kids. If there's a kid that's talking too much, sit next to them and help them do their work. Right? If there's a group of kids that are off task, go over and help them with their work. Right? That's one. Two is leave the classroom better than you found it, right? It's just like most of the time when I came back, when I had a sub, I started putting kids in charge. So like I'd have Kev and Joe and those dudes and like Cephas. I'd be like, yo, get the keys to get someone to unlock my door at the end of the day. Make me walk into something better than I'm going to, because it's going to be a disaster. So last year I covered for this one dude who would like, all his posters are falling off his wall. I just like during my prep, I didn't have anything to do during a prep. I just like put all his posters back up on his wall. I straightened things out. I cleaned his board that looked like it hadn't been cleaned in 3 years. I just like left it better. And I think leaving a note. I take notes all day in the notes section of my phone. Just use audio and like I just speech to text.
But you're not afraid kids are listening to what you're saying? And
No, I do it like in the off time, like in between classes or during the prep or something. Here's what we did today. Here's what worked. Here's what didn't work. Here's who was on task. Here's who really helped me out. Here's a kid that didn't do anything. And then I just put it all through ChatGPT, have it write it up really nice. I go back, make sure that it makes sense, and take all those freaking M dashes and emojis they try and put in there all the time. Right? Like, who even knew what an M dash was before ChatGPT? Anyway, I take all that stuff out, and then I send a message to the teacher at the end of the day so they have a very clear sense of what happened that day. I feel like no teachers, no subs ever do that. They just show up, hand out the work. Your room looks like a disaster, and you don't know what the hell happened.
I feel like subs do that if you're like elementary, like 3rd and below.
You have a better chance of them doing that, but yeah.
Okay, real fast. This is a great one. My husband and I have been looking into becoming high school teachers. We are also in a band together. I knew you would. Will we have time for this other passion project if we start teaching? We do not have kids.
So
thanks for that tip.
First of all, how long have I wanted to have a band together? Even though you have no musical ability.
Forever.
What do I want our band to be called?
Oh gosh, Double Denim.
Double Denim. We both wear denim all the time.
No, we don't.
No, in our band.
Oh.
And then we're just double denim.
No.
And I even have I have a whole playlist idea. Well, I won't get
when
into
songs come on in the radio, he's always like, "Oh, this is part of our Double Denim."
Yeah. Anyway, it's we won't go into that. I think you should make time for it because it's going to give you back the energy. When you just do school all the time, and look, we're up there on Saturday. There's a small chance we go up there on Sunday today, right? To the school. I'm up there late at night. The school alarm goes off, it gets set at 9 p.m.
We have to be out by 9 p.m.
So I got to leave by 9, right?
Or the cops show up.
Which is probably healthy, right? Yeah.
It is good because at BL, we were there some days till like 3 a.m.
And the cops have come up there many times, but because they thought someone was in the school or whatever. But anyway, it's having that time when you have band practice, it's set. It's like every Thursday night or every Tuesday and Thursday night, right? It's set for this many hours. We're hanging out with people. We're talking about not school, right? I think that's an awesome idea. You should 100% do it.
It's life-giving.
Yeah.
But I don't be deceived that teaching takes a lot. It's a lot of time. So again, like you said, with the balancing of plates, it's like a season or two might need like heavy plate balancing, spinning for the teacher plate. And the band might be like, man, we're showing up to practice once a week and that's about all I can give, right? We're not playing out and doing things, but I think
it's a good outlet too, I think, especially music.
Agreed. And it's something you can like talk to kids about and like connect with kids about. Like there's so many great aspects of it that you can bring even into the classroom. I mean, look at Wade. Doesn't he like play music in the
he plays in his classroom.
He plays his guitar all the time in his classroom because he's a music lover. But I do think that if you're feeling called to be a teacher, like you should do it because I think teachers are a unique breed and really awesome, and good teachers are needed.
Yep. All right. You got one more?
Yeah, I do have one more that I have marked. There might be other ones.
Hit it.
Okay. Hello, my name is Tony. Do you think it's possible to centralize cell phone enforcement through the camera system, or will it forever have to fall on the individual teacher's shoulders?
So this is
what is the camera system? What does that mean? I don't
my guess is it has to do with like the schools know that teachers are like they can see kids on the camera maybe, but let me, I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is either schools are going to just handle cell phones. Now we say that like cell phones are a learning device and all these things. I think there are aspects of that, right? So if I think of something like Speechify, which is what my son uses for dyslexia, I think it is the best tool out there at the moment for helping kids that are dyslexic. That requires you to have your phone. But like Texas just made this move where they're like banned cell phones from the classrooms and kids have to lock them up when they come into the room. Yo, tell me right now your kids don't have 2 cell phones, or they're not going to bring their old phone in and lock it up and then keep their. come on, man. It's just like,
kids are kids and they always find a way around.
Because it's the fun, right? It's fun. Like, we never like did anything. And all this bad stuff we ever did as kids, we didn't do because we had to do it. We did because it was fun, right? Like, it was like, right, like going into like a vacant building or like doing graffiti. No one did it because you were like, oh, I got to do it, right? Like, it's my, it's like you did it because it's part of it is the adventure of doing it.
Yeah.
Never did either of those things, by the way. But if schools aren't cracking down, then it does fall back on teachers. And the only thing that's ever worked, and the thing I plan on doing this year, I know there are students that have an absurd, like their level of addiction to their phone is like next level, is one, I need to be the example. So I'm not on my phone, right? Teachers being there like talking like on their phone, telling people they're not allowed to be on their phone. And the second thing is having real conversations with kids about cell phone addiction, about the myth of multitasking, about that, like, what are we, and making, so I think that's having that real deep, heavy conversation with kids over and over again if needed. And like, this is why we're not on our phones this period. This is why I don't want you to have your phone out, because here's the science behind that. Here's the reality of this, right? And then making class so engaging that it's going to make them think twice, or it's going to draw them in to that. So I think it's those few things together. And look, I'm not against like contact home on the regular, man, when people are on their phones and stuff like that. Like, just make it, I like, even though I'm teaching older kids, like, I'm 100% on the phone with your mom. Cause you know what, y'all, like, I know you're not washing your own underwear. Like, you're still
not an adult.
Yeah. You say you want to be treated like an adult, but when we don't act like an adult, I got to go to an adult, because we're trying to work together to try and help you out. So
your answer is it's probably always going to fall on the individual teacher's shoulders versus a camera enforcement system.
Yeah. I mean, like, because I think when you
make a huge system for something, it doesn't always.
I need an admin that's going to ride or die on an idea. It's when we when we say like, oh no, we banned phones, but then when a teacher tries to confiscate a phone or sends a kid to the office with a phone, and we're not really dealing with it, that's the issue, right? It's like when we need we need leaders that are going to lead and not just try and manage. And so like this idea of like putting phones in a little box or like a folder or whatever, like a satchel for the day, great. That's a great start. But how hard are we really going to ride with that? Because I think that it's a much bigger problem, that there's not going to be like this one thing that that's going to solve or something like that. Got any other questions for me?
I just want to say to the person that just popped on, I think that's their last question. They said, there is one more. I was just going to, so Christopher is asking, I'm planning to implement oh, wait, that wasn't the one. Gosh, there's so many things. Sorry.
All right. So I'm going to say this while you're doing that, right? One, if you didn't, I talked in the beginning of this episode, it might be worth going back if you came on late, about like how nervous I am for the new year and all the stuff that's coming up. It's making me sick to my stomach, and I start having bad teacher dreams already. But that's why we make resources, right? If you need help, this is not a sales pitch. I'm not interested in just selling stuff to sell it, right? I want you to buy something from us and then know that this filled a need and it lessened your anxiety. Classroom Management Blueprint is available, right? It's only $25. The Classroom Teacher-Student Relationship Blueprint, right, it is so important on a level that if I couldn't build relationships, I don't even want to teach. But so I'm not talking about being friends with kids. I'm talking about building relationships so that you both realize where you all are coming from and what's important, right? Those things, workshops, all that stuff is available on our website. Go to shopteacherclassoff.com. Lesson planning stuff is on there. It's all on there to try and help you lessen that stuff. That's what we're trying to do. So
Insightful Critic is saying, I transitioned from a corporate role in HR training and development to a first-year role as an 8th grade social studies teacher at a Title I school in Dallas. How do I effectively engage students?
That's in the resource.
So what I was trying to type in here and get the link is saying there's a workshop, not just a resource, but a lesson planning workshop, and it's
Yes.
basically the lesson planning workshop is how do I, a huge part of it is engagement. It's a video, there's a resource workbook, a digital workbook. So it might be worth your investment if that's what you're looking for. It was a live workshop and now it's just lives there and you can purchase it at your leisure.
Let me give 2 quick things though.
Yes,
that are in there, that because I don't want to just be like, yo, go buy my workshop. That's what the answer is, right?
No.
So 2 quick things are going to be, 1, pay attention to what everyone's talking about.
Yep.
And then when they talk about it, go look it up.
Yep.
Right. So when your kids are talking about Hatsune Miku and you're like, what? Like, go look it up.
Go listen to some music.
It's hard. It's hard to listen to. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not my jam. But I have listened to a significant amount.
Yeah.
That when I know kids are into like Lemon Demon, when bro was like, you know the song? I'm like, bro, I know like 6 songs from them because I listen because kids are talking about it. So pay attention to where their attention is.
Look at their patches, look at their
Yeah.
shirts.
If everyone goes back first day and they're talking about Fantastic Four and you didn't see it yet, go spend $7 and go to the movies and watch the movie, because then you have something to talk about. And you have something to reference. So watch Fantastic Four thinking about whatever you're teaching in middle school history, right? Like what are we learning from this? And then what can I pull back from that? The other thing is get to know your students and let them know you, and not just on a surface level, right? This is why things like doing the Life Odyssey project that I have is like basically 10 moments between birth and now that made you into the human being that you are today. I share that stuff with kids. I share with them my wins. I share with them the fact that I lost my dad when I was 4. I talk to them about things like how I lost my mom when I was a young man. I talk to them about how music really, really saved me when I was a kid. Like playing music with friends and being in bands and stuff like that. Talking about marrying my high school sweetheart. And because I want kids to know me on a bit of a deeper level, and I want to introduce, like, let them know that this is something you can do as well. I think those 2 things together are things that many, many teachers are not doing. And so that's where I would start. So with that, look, gang, we're at almost an hour and a half. So I do have to go. We will be back next Sunday to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in here early, you can just so as soon as I post this on YouTube, y'all can just pop in. So I usually do it right after church, so around 11:30 Mountain Time. So that's 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Put your questions in there, right? My man John Brassa was in here with questions 30 minutes, an hour beforehand, right? Put your questions in there because we go front down. Unless you if you're a channel member, if you're a member of this of the YouTube channel, I try and answer all of your questions. Or if you do a super chat and if you want to be a member, it's 99 cents a month. Really helps us out. Just comes out of your credit card or your debit card or whatever every month. 99 cents helps feed the Reynolds children so that we can helps us pay for takeout so I can do more work online sometimes. That's basically what it comes down to.
We don't need takeout.
I mean, back in the day when I was allowed gluten and grains and dairy and stuff. Anyway, I don't want to end this on a sad note.
That is not sad.
No,
that is
my
great.
goodness. There's so much going on between now and next week. But we will be back I'll be probably talking from the airport next week is what we'll be doing because I'm going to Illinois. So if y'all are in Illinois, I'm coming for you. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. Have a great first week back if it's your first week back in school.
Yes. Awesome. We'll see you next week, gang. Peace.
Bye.